Namaste friends, welcome back to YogaCandi. My name's Candace and today is day 8 of our 14-day yoga flexibility challenge. We're going to be focusing on calf stretches. So the props you're going to need is a really thick rolled up towel and maybe a couple of yoga blocks or some thick books. That's all you're going to need, and make sure you're wearing something comfortable. There's no need for a warm-up before today's class, but of course you can always do that 10-minute sun salutation sequence if you would like to. Right, we're going to start off on hands and knees once again. So hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and we're going to jump straight into this today. So we're going to extend through the left leg, taking that leg behind us long. From here, we're going to just start to rock the hips back and forth. This will already start to stretch the calves, especially if you have very tight calves. So just rock back and forth to a point where you feel that stretch. And when you feel like you're ready to just enjoy the stretch, then become still and start to send that foot further and further down towards the ground. So you're trying to send that heel of the left foot all the way down to the ground. You can always take your hands down to the forearms if that's a bit more comfortable. And from here, when you find a stretch that you love, so you can stay up on the fingertips, on the palms, or you can come down to the forearms, really pushing that heel down towards the ground. When you feel that stretch, you're going to lift up through the knee, so you're keeping that leg engaged. And let's all take 3 really deep breaths here together. On your next exhale, let's come on forward. If you're on the forearms, come back up to the fingertips. And let's take a few little movements with the hips, just dipping the hips down to the ground, taking a few deep circles, dipping the belly down to the ground, and then rotate in the opposite direction. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to extend through the right leg this time. Plant the hands nice and firmly, and we're going to just do that rocking motion back and forth, feeling the stretch there on the right side. Suck in the belly and keep your spine nice and neutral. Let's do this a few more times. And then become still. Find that point where you can feel the resistance and you can feel the stretch, and you can always come down to the forearms. This may be a lot more comfortable for you. Pull back into that heel, so you're sending that heel down to the ground. And let's hold the stretch for 3 really deep breaths. Close the eyes if you want to. Suck in the lower belly. Lift up through that knee, so you're keeping that leg nice and engaged. And on your next exhale, bring the knees together. Now we're going to take the knees totally together as well as the feet. This is where your rolled up towel is going to come in handy. So we're almost going to roll up some of the calf pain that you may be feeling and some of the tension. So lean forward and get that just behind the knees. Place that behind the knees. Now you're going to start to send the hips back. When you feel a point where you think, oh, that's enough, then just stay there. If you can, and you can sit back onto it, then sit all the way back onto that prop. It can be a little painful. It's getting deep into the fascia and just breaking it all up, releasing the tension in the muscle. So if it becomes too intense, just start to lean forward a little bit. You can come onto the palms. You don't have to sit all the way back onto the heels. Be where you are today. We're going to stay here for quite a few breaths, so feel around with it. Listen to your own body. You may want to add a little bit of movement, perhaps rocking back and forth. So you can always rock back and forth, feeling it out as if you're getting a bit of a calf massage here. If that doesn't feel good, then just be still at any point that feels good for your body. It may be ever so slightly uncomfortable, but that's okay as long as there's not actual pain. All together, wherever you are and whatever it is you're doing, you can even just rock from side to side. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to take 5 deep breaths together, in and out of the nostrils. Now, if it's possible, you can come all the way into a seat. Close your eyes once again. If not, stay where you are. We're going to take 2 more deep breaths. Now come on forward. You can remove your prop out the way. And we're going to come into downward facing dog, planting the hands firmly to the ground, sending those hips up to the sky. Now, if your heels don't touch the ground, then it could be that you're very tight in the calves and in your Achilles heel. So a lovely thing you can do is to become still in your downward facing dog, find a nice comfortable position, suck in that lower abdomen, take the left foot down towards the right heel. So you're placing the left foot onto the right heel and pulling it down towards the ground. So if your heel is lifted, you can use that left foot to pull it down. So you're in a one-legged down dog. Just stay here for a couple of breaths. Make sure you're turning the armpits towards each other, sucking in the abdomen, tailbone up towards the sky. Take 1 more deep breath. And then release. We're going to do the same on the other side. This is going to feel wonderful if that heel is lifted. If your heels are not lifted and they're all the way down on the ground and you're not feeling a stretch at all, then that's fine. Just stay in your down dog, just stretching out the hamstrings for a moment. Take 1 more deep breath here. And then become still, come back to the down dog. Now let's twist from the hips. We're going to start to bend through the knees just for a moment. Just bending and twisting as you like, listening to your own body. And then very slowly take the slowest walk you can to the top end of the mat. Taking your heels in front of the toes, keeping the legs straight for just as long as you can keep them. When you need to bend them, then don't worry, then you bend them. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. And on an inhale, slowly roll your spine all the way up into your standing mountain pose. Inhale, the hands above the head, look up. Exhale, hands to the sides of the body. This is where your blocks or your books are going to come in handy. So find a wall, take your blocks or books against the wall, or you may even have some stairs in your home, which would work as well. And you're going to lift up through the right foot. Now you can do it on just 1 block or you can do it on 2 blocks, depending on how tight your calves are. We're going to start to lean forward, so you're keeping the heel of the foot on the ground, but the toes are up onto your prop. And start to lean into the wall until you feel a stretch. When you feel a stretch at the back of that right calf, you can even come up onto the tippy toes of the left leg. When you start to feel it, let's all close our eyes and take 5 deep breaths. Lift up through the knee on the right side, so you're keeping the leg engaged. 2 more deep breaths. And release. Come on back and just give the legs a little shake out. We're going to take it over to the other side. So now we're going to lift up through the left toes. So the left toes are placed on the prop, the heel is on the ground. From here we're going to start to send the hips forward towards the wall. Come up onto the tippy toes of the right foot if you need to. Start to rock even if you want to, if that feels good on the calf. When you find a really good point of resistance, become still. If you've got a hard floor like me, you can always prop out something underneath that heel. Maybe that's putting too much pressure on the heel. And let's all become nice and still together, lifting up through the knee here on the left side, keeping the leg nice and engaged. And let's take our 5 deep breaths. And release that heel. Come back to your mountain, come back to the top of your mat, give your feet another little shake out. We're going to inhale the hands above the head, touch the palms, look up. Exhale, fold from the hips until you reach a point where you need to bend the knees. Exhale, fold, inhale, halfway lift, look up. Plant the hands on the ground, step back into your plank. Now keep a nice strong plank if possible, keeping the knees lifted. We're going to rock our plank back and forth. This is also great for the calves. So as you rock back, you'll feel a little stretch at the back of the calf. Just take a few of these and rest whenever you need to. You can take your knees down to the ground, take an easy plank, and then meet me back for a little rock. Suck in that lower abdomen, lift up through the shoulder blades. Take 3 more rocks. And then become still. Exhale all the way down to the belly. Inhale for a baby cobra or a full cobra. Exhale all the way down to the ground. Send the hips back towards your heels. And that's today's class. So don't forget, you can finish with a lovely shavasana or a meditation. Otherwise, you can stay here seated on the heels, closing the eyes, and just tune back into the inner body. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths before I say goodbye. I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's class, and I hope a couple of those moves were new to you. Let me know in the comments how you got on and if there's anything else you would like to see. But otherwise, I'm going to see you tomorrow for our next day of our flexibility challenge. Until then, namaste.